Damn it.
What? I thought.
No, yours fucking shit. Man, Josh, how do you pronounce your last name?
Collard.
Collard. Yeah. Awesome. So you're a man of many talents, and I've been watching like your Instagram, like obviously Earthcaller. I listened to that band for a while now, but I think when I first asked you to talk on the podcast, maybe it was like I don't even know now, maybe like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. I can't remember. Anyway,
yeah. It's been a long time coming.
yeah, and so I kind of want to start from the beginning and hear your story about how everything kind of just started, how like Earthcaller came into being now. But you're not just like the frontman for Earthcaller. You also do music production. Yeah, like you running every day with your beautiful little dog. Like you're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks for thanks for the compliments. It's very nice. But yeah, so yeah, like Earthcaller's a Earthcaller. So should I start at where Earthcaller got started?
Mm-mm. Talking to you, I want to hear about your story. We're like, did you grow up in Melbourne?
Yep, grew up in Melbourne, northeastern suburbs, in like a not the greatest side of town, not the worst, but so basically I was just like, like a young punk / emo kid, skateboarder, got really into the tunes in my early teenage years, picked up a guitar around the age of 13 and just sort of instantly started trying to write songs. Yeah. Obviously the first few weren't great, but got like a screamo band going when I was like 15 that actually did quite well, like for like a bunch of teenagers. It was called Juliet's End. I also did like a very early deathcore band called Meridian, and like I was like definitely one of the first people doing pig squeals in Melbourne. So that was like in 2005 or so. Jeez. And yeah, I was doing those two bands simultaneously. Those two things went well, and I just like had such an amazing experience doing music early on that it just sort of became like the it just became like the foundation for what I wanted to build my life around. I tried to do like several bands through my teenage years, as everybody trying to make it does. And after some like a kind of like I would say like turbulent early adulthood, like a lot of like partying and like all the same kinds of stuff that like people go through, I found myself in like a really awesome position filling in.
Why the hell did you just do that? Why did you just react to the hard joke? What the fuck are you doing here? Sorry.
Because he loves it. He loves it. But yeah, so like in like the early, so in 2010 I got the opportunity to fill in for Closure in Moscow. I don't know if you guys know that band. Just like a Melbourne, I guess, like post-rock band that like did quite well internationally. So like I got the opportunity to fill in for them on bass on like a really huge Japanese tour. And after that I sort of like knew what it took and knew what making it sort of felt like, and I was just like locked in after that. Took me a few years to get Earthcaller going, but like after like a few like cycling through a few members and getting the sound right, we released our first record in 2015, and from there it's just been a go, like just making new tunes. We've had like lots of stuff going on. We signed with an American major label for a little bit. That didn't work out. We were on the same label as that label was the same label as Snoop Dogg, and I just found it was pretty hard to get my emails responded to when Snoop Dogg's the other person emailing and stuff like that.
Yeah, so went up in smokes.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so like after that experience with that label, not going so great, decided to just sort of run the band independently. And this sort of segues into the other stuff that you were saying, like, like Earthcall is like a sort of self-run operation. We have like a good distro deal. We manage and book ourselves, and obviously, like, we've had like, some kind of like we've always had like some international eyes on us and stuff like that, but obviously that was accentuated and enhanced when Mystique joined the band, and since then things have been really cranking along. We just announced our first European tour.
Saw that.
Within Destruction, we're like extremely grateful for it, and it's like awesome. A huge achievement for a fully independent band to like be able to work with like the amazingly successful Avocado bookings, and that brings us up to date.
Yeah. So I gotta go back though. I got a couple more questions for you. Growing up, were you always involved in music, or were you just like, were your parents like on board with helping you out? Because obviously you have like a voice, and so where, like, were you always in music, and where did the kind of like your voice kind of like, were you always singing, or?
Well, so when I was real young, my parents encouraged me to get into music, and at that point it was like violin, and like it always, like, I think my violin playing always sounded like a cat getting strangled, but like but I like, while I always had like a sense when I was playing violin that I really liked playing music, but maybe this wasn't it. And I remember at school there were these three brothers. Their last name was Starbuck, but it was like one was in like year 10, one was in year 7, and one was in grade 6. So like, like a senior, middle school, and a elementary school. I just remembered they played at the so I was maybe like 8 at this point, 8 or 9, and I just remember they performed it at an assembly, and they played like a couple of originals which were great, and then they also played like some NoFX covers.
Oh, no way.
And that was like my first introduction to punk music outside of like, what was popular, like Offspring and Blink-182, which I was already sort of drawn to. But like when I heard like some real, like, some like, at that point, like, more sort of underground punk or whatever, like I was just hooked. And like, I remember looking at the singer Will and just being like, that's what I want to do. So so when I was like 13, one of my good friends, Boyd, family friend, I saw him like playing a lot of guitar and stuff like that, and I was like, maybe I want to give that a crack. And then so after I picked up the guitar, I just thought to myself like, I'll give songwriting a crack. And I just sort of had like, my first songs were obviously shit, but I actually was able to like complete them. So like, and then I just sort of found that like people were in, like, back to my family, you mentioned, my family were always like very, very supportive of it and stuff like that. Awesome. And I showed an aptitude for songwriting pretty early on. So they sort of had no qualms with like supporting me and stuff like that, just as long as I like, focused on school and stuff like that, which I just, found it really hard to do.
Yeah.
Because like, at around the same time I found guitar, I also found the old devil's lettuce, but like I gave it a red hot crack, school, and like, but yeah, no, it's just like, yeah. So ever since then, it's just been full tilt at music. And, aside from like a 2-year sabbatical when I was kind of battling with some like depression and stuff like that, in like my late teen years, I've just been trying to make it, and trying to make it on my own terms as well.
Good job, man. It takes a lot of like strength and like in yourself to kind of go, okay, I'm just going to do this on my own. But it's cool that you kind of had your family to kind of have your back. That's so important. Like we've talked to so many people, and like either they do very, very well on their own, but then they struggle, like, you know what I mean? But I think having that backing with family, and like, but obviously you have some talent too. You got to give yourself some credit. Like some people just like, they want, I'm going to be a musician, and you're like, nah, that's not for you. You know what I mean?
Well, and it was nice that you stepped aside with the violin, so that way Lindsay Sterling could kind of step into the limelight, right? Because you wanted her to shine. Right?
Lindsay Sterling?
Do you know who Lindsay Sterling is?
No.
Do you know who Lindsay Sterling is? She's the one
actually,
that dances in the rain with the fiddle, and she
That's
does that
weird.
like weird like EDM song with
Oh.
with the fiddle.
Oh,
cool.
yeah. I am familiar. Yeah.
It's not funny if
That
I
was
gotta fucking explain
yeah, I had to
it,
explain
okay?
that joke. It wasn't didn't land. Anyway, my God, Ernie.
I quit.
So, but like,
Hey,
but you have like
hey,
this like
you gotta reach for the stars with the jokes.
Right,
Sometimes,
It hits.
sometimes you get
You
it.
miss
Sometimes you get.
99% of the shots. You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
he constantly
That's right.
searching. It's like if you've ever listened to any of the podcasts, this is like the continual thing. He's got these like he tries continuing
Yeah.
to be a comedian. And
I was gonna say a
one day-
Starbucks joke, but he was way too
No,
far past.
okay,
that.
you're way
Yeah,
past.
yeah, past that.
So, but your voice is like you got some serious talent though. Like when you were making songs and sitting with your acoustic guitar, like you obviously weren't like just like giving her shit. You were like having like harmony and stuff. Like so, how did that come about? Realizing like, oh, I can just like have an awesome metal voice.
It took me ages. It actually like took me ages because like I you know I really wanted to so like with the screaming, right, like that was something that I like was able to pick up pretty quickly, like screaming into a pillow in my room when I was 15 to the first I Killed the Prom Queen and Parkway records. So like you know, just trying to copy like Winston and Crafter and stuff like that, and like, you know, Bury Your Dead and that kind of stuff, like that was sort of my kind of jam. And then as I got older, you know, like you sort of start cycling back through like the older stuff, and I found like Motorhead and Metallica, and then like because at that point I couldn't really clean sing or like sing like melodically that well, like because like a lot of it's just finding your voice and how you're supposed to sound. But then when I heard like Hetfield and Lemmy and stuff like that, I just tried to do that because it's like so close to screaming, and like and then yeah, like and then I was just like, oh shit, I can do this. And then, you know, just without any kind of formal training or whatever, I just practiced it by like a band practice and then performing on the road and stuff like that. And eventually I just kind of locked in. If you ask Mystique about it, she'll tell you that she's encouraging me to get some singing lessons before we release our new stuff. There's a lot of cleans. There's like a lot more cleans in it and stuff like that. And she has quite high standards.
Right?
So
Seems that way. Seems that way. Yeah.
Yes.
I got that picture.
Yeah, we got that picture pretty clear a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So like, yeah, like obviously want to live up to the hype. So yeah. So like, I think I'll just, I think for the foreseeable future, I'll be sort of working towards like, you know, not just kind of like being self-taught. Like I reckon I could benefit from some formal training. I think like all like the really great guys all get it, you know.
For sure, man.
Yeah. So like stepping up, yeah, it's just all about stepping up now, and that's what Earth Call is like. That's what Earth Call is about at this particular time, you know.
How long is the longevity of like when you do that screaming? Like you go on tour. Like, do you have to have like a section little block where it's like, listen, I can't be talking or doing anything in this amount of time, or could you bang out like a whole week and be okay?
Fortunately, I'm one of those guys that doesn't need to really do that. Like, you know, I just have like some warm-ups that I learned like when I was like young, that I do, and it's just like kind of like just very quiet sort of warm-ups, and then so I'll do that if I've got a show at night. Like I'll just start doing these warm-ups in the afternoon, and it's just like this. You just put your tongue over the back of your throat and you just like that kind of stuff. And then like on the way to the gig, I'll just sing a couple of like songs that I like maybe like Architects or something like that. You know, like Sam really gives it a go. And then but yeah, like I don't do any of that stuff, like Nobody Talk to Me or anything like that. I'm just like, I don't even use like in-ears or anything like that. I'm like trying to keep punk alive, boys.
Yeah, but you're gonna go deaf pretty quick, man. You gotta take it easy though.
Sorry, when you're on stage, do you wear them in your ear or no?
No, I haven't yet. But once again, like, you know, I think it might be time for that.
Yeah, you want to keep those ears working forever.
Well, this is the thing though, right? So like the major difference between like an American or like a European touring band and an Australian one is that like an Australian tour is like maximum like really like 7-10 shows, something like that, because there's just not that many places and everything is like very spread out. So like in Europe, like just like from Melbourne to the neighboring state Sydney you drive like the drive from Melbourne to Sydney is like the equivalent of like 3 countries in Europe or like 3 states. So it's just like there's just not that many places to play in Australia. So you only need to really keep it together for like a week or two. So like I think the test is like I think the real test is going to be Europe when it's like 23 shows with 1 day off. So like I'll let you guys know how I go if I come back after that.
So what is it like performing in like larger venues where like, because I know like I DJ a little bit, and then when I do like events where the stuff is vibrating off the wall and coming back to you, like I absolutely have to be wearing headphones, because if I do it just by ear, I worry that I'm not playing on what I'm hearing in my speakers. I'm playing what's coming back to me, and by then I'm already late. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're getting the reverb coming back from you. Like that would be the only time that I would have to deal with headphones. Like, do you come across anything like that?
I haven't come across anything like that. Like we've played some like pretty large venues and stuff. I actually find like the larger venues like are easier to perform in because there's like more often than not, like the foldback speakers are like awesome and stuff. I feel like, oh, by the way, other musicians and other vocalists in bigger bands are going to listen to me saying this shit and just being like, what a fucking noob. Right. But like,
right now though, no, that's right now. Give me a couple of years, maybe even 6 months after that European tour, things might change. Right. So.
Oh yeah, I bet you it will. But yeah, like once again, Mystique is like she's got some like in-ear endorsements and stuff like that, so I might just like sort of shell out for those before Europe, you know. But yeah, like I mean, like I don't know, like I've just kind of like I just have this like romantic like connection to like late 90s and early 2000s sort of music and like how those guys did it, and you know like you know, if it was good enough for them, it'll be good enough for me kind of thing, you know, like but you know, I'll obviously have to like sort of shed that like old school mentality to sort of keep up with the times and stuff. But yeah, no, I like for whatever reason, I've just been really lucky. Like, you know, I've been able to just play with pure passion, like not too much planning, like anything like that. And it's just gone really well. Like, you know, like, I'd like sort of like I do like a lot of like interacting with the crowd, you know, like a bit of crowd work and stuff like that, get some laughs going. It's just always a good vibe. And usually like the foldbacks have been like good enough for me, but I think probably like I think we're getting to I think Europe is going to be the time where it's like really time to just sort of like, you know, just kid up to like the higher level, because like everyone else in the band has like stepped up and gotten like in-ears and all that kind of stuff, like our drummer,
just like, hell no, man, I'm just gonna kill it.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
I'm like just, you know, like those like, you know, just just that old school like male mentality of just like, you know, she'll be right, like, you know, I just can't get it out of me, man. I think it's like the Italian DNA.
Man. Cool. It makes me wonder, like you said you were debating doing vocal like coaching and things like that. Like I wondered if they had anything like a master class on this now, because there's so many bands and so many people that actually do it, and that would be like, you know, would have special techniques that would give you a little bit more longevity, or like special tips to make like a tour a little bit easier on you once you get into more strenuous things. Like I wondered if they would have things like that for your venues.
Bro, if Sam from Architects did a master class, like I would pay whatever for that. I'll have what he's having, please.
Man, that do you ever? So how do you prep like a stage presence? Like you have like, so obviously I haven't seen you live, but I can only watch YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like for instance, on your new track, Choke. Like it's just like you have such a powerful presence, and like you bring that on there just by like showing up. It seems like. So what took you to kind of get to there, and what's the thinking behind that? Obviously, it's rad music behind you, but.
So like I would just sort of say like I've always been pretty comfortable with like public speaking. That's never really been like an issue for me. Like I've been like, you know, in like even like group assessments at school and stuff like that, I was always like, I'm happy to do the talking if other people don't want to and stuff. So like so I think like there's just like a sort of like maybe born with it aspect like of like manage, like, you know, being entertaining and stuff like that. I also like to have a laugh and like, you know, with the boys, you know, so I just sort of like, you know, maybe you know, just kind of like naturally a bit funny and stuff like that. But like I think maybe what like really like sort of translates well for the audience is like I've struggled for a very long time to like make this all happen and stuff like that. And I played a lot of shows, and like I've like learned what works and what doesn't. And like I every time I step on stage, I try and bring like the passion and like the gratitude of like being able to be in this position with me, you know. And like I feel like just like you can't, like when it comes to like passion and like and just like hunger to be there and hunger to succeed, you can't really fake the funk with that. You can't really plan for that. And I feel like if you just like drag that onto the stage with you, it's like it's always gonna translate to like a really authentic and powerful experience. And like by the way, and thank you for like, you know, paying me the compliment on that one, you know.
No worries, man. Yeah, like the cool thing about so the reason I think why I kind of like I latch on to certain people and I see people and I'm like, I'd love just to hear their story, is because of exactly what you said. A lot of a genuine, like the humility, and like, you know, like I've been and seen Guns N' Roses and seen Axl Rose, and he takes 2 hours to come out, and it's like, okay, I get it. Like he has a history, right? But I've also seen shows where I've been following guys for like 10 years, like all the homies from Cancer Bats, like Liam, J Bones, like all those guys. Like
dude, unbelievable.
After the show, they will come up and give you like a hug and be like, hey man, nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. And like, even though they have like certain successes, like they're still humble and they still appreciate where they are, why they're doing it. And like, we even like, remember we asked Jay, like he was killing it on one of his shows. And I said, man, you look like you're having a great time. He's like, I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean? Like that kind of mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like, you know, like a lot of people with their success, they forget that at one point they would have just been like, I'll pay the booking agent $500 just to open this show. Like, you know, like you start there. And then it's just like, this is the real thing though, man. This is the real thing though. The music industry as a whole, right? Like, okay, so let me just like,
we're here with you. We're here with you.
So there's a passion that is required, right, to actually get you into it, to like carry you to even the point where you like release one song and get on the stage once. There's like this burning passion that you have. Some people never even like a lot of people trying to make bands like never even make it that far. So like you just get weeded. So like the people with like the passion and hunger for it just get, and like the ability to make the right decisions that lead to a certain point, like the people that aren't able to like invest in themselves like that get weeded out in that process. And then you get the process of actually going from like an opener to second on to main support to headliner, and then that process just weeds out all like the pretenders as well. And like the people that are actually in it and like get there, they're people that are very hungry and very passionate and like usually very humble. Then you have to exist within the music industry, which is like a very, very difficult thing to exist in and maintain your passion and happiness, because a lot of the times the bands that are succeeding, you'll see them play to like sometimes like 10, 15,000 people, that their show, like they'll put on a headliner that grosses like close to $1 million in income. And then they'll get to the time when all the expenses are paid, the managers, the booking agents, the other bands, the lighting, the sound, all that kind of stuff. And then they'll be waiting for their check. And then it'll be like a pittance. It'll be nothing. And so like you will find that like the people that have made the smartest decisions are the ones that actually stayed humble and stayed passionate and like didn't sort of like lose their like childlike, you know, drive towards the goal. And like you brought up like Cancer Bats and how humble they are and stuff like that. That is the beautiful thing about hardcore, metalcore, like punk, emo, like this all-encompassing subgenre, because there is like a connection to the audience that is built on like respect and like you are us and we are you. And like the reason that this genre is the best genre in the world is specifically for that reason, that there's a good chance that you'll get a solid hug from your favorite band at some point. Yeah. So I
and
was crapping
no.
on a bit there, but I hope that like translated well.
No, man, absolutely. It's beautiful to hear it from someone like yourself who is in a position of where you're growing as a musician and your band is, going on tour now, growing outside of Australia. Like I think that's the most important thing to hear from someone like yourself is just that kind of humility. Ernie, were you gonna say something?
It makes me wonder too, like when you're performing and you're performing through not through like they're the ones performing as well, but like you're working through a major label company as well. Like it makes me wonder if a lot of those people are just putting out music that the label will be happy to hear to put on the radio rather than what their fans want to hear too, right?
Yeah, that's true, because like it's because at the end of the day, right, like there comes a point where the bands are like, because it's really like, it's passionate and it's love, but it's really hard work, and it's just like if you are unable to see like a substantial enough income from it to like pay your rent or eat, like, it should be that you should be able to buy a house from this for the amount of hours that you put into it. And if you're consistently unable to do that, like, the labels will convince you like, oh, you just need to get to like the next level. Like you just need to go from clubs to theaters. Oh, you just need to go from theaters to stadiums or whatever. And it's just like the bands get caught in this loop of trying to like, change their sound so that they can unlock the next tier, so that they can hopefully unlock that paycheck that like just never seems to come, because it's like the percentages that are getting taken off you are always the same percentages. And it's just like within the age of the internet, right? It's like you don't need somebody to be doing that. And like the only like, Earthcaller's like completely self-managed and stuff like that. But like, everybody sees like a little something, even at like the level that we're at. So like the idea is that if we just elevate ourselves a little bit more, if we chase that same goal, like, everybody in the band will get a payday, and like, and it'll be like, it's like self-sufficient and that kind of thing. So like, that's what we're aiming for. Like, we're happy to work with people who like have the same sort of vision for us and stuff like that. So like, it's not like we're closed off to like having representation of some kind, but like, it's just like, it's like I have had the unique experience of watching all the bands I looked up to make the decisions that they've made. And like, I've like collated all that data in my head, and the conclusion that I've come to is that if people aren't interested in putting money in your pockets too, like you can work your dick off for like 20 years, but it'll end with you renting and needing to get a job eventually as well. And you lose the passion for it. And it's just like, there's nothing sadder than seeing somebody play a show to like 5,000 people and mentally just be on autopilot, because they know that this is all just this circular journey of like, how am I going to pay my rent? Man.
So I got to ask this question. So is this the only gig you're doing right now? Just straight music? Like, is that something you're just doing only? Is that the only way you're making money right now? Or
no.
Is that
I'm
okay
like
for me to
doing
ask?
it through different avenues. I'm like selling rap beats. I'm like, like recording like rappers and stuff. Like that's sort of the space that I'm in terms of like music production and stuff. Like I haven't like branched off into metal in that respect. I'm also like a beverage manager of like a nice cocktail bar as well. Like I create like cocktail lists and that kind of stuff. So like, yeah. So like, it's a good job as well. Like, this is like a sort of classic thing for like a musician. You always got to have like a couple side hustles going on.
Oh, hell yeah, man. There's nothing wrong. I got 2 jobs. We got 3 jobs. Like Dirty's got 3 jobs too. Like you gotta bring in that bank. We get it. That's good. No, so that's the reason I always see all the cool posts on your Instagram, all these interesting drinks. I'm like, where the hell is this guy? Like, what bars you guys go to? Like, geez, man.
He's like playing and mixology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mixing drinks and tunes.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. So I gotta ask, you're running every day, you're going to the gym, like you're pretty driven. So, and I did see some photos of you back in like when I was looking at the beginning of Earthcaller 2013. Dude, you've dropped some weight, my guy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean,
Good
over
job.
time,
Way to go.
I had a completely different lifestyle back then. Like I was drinking a lot more. I know I'm like knocking back a beer right now or whatever, but like, drinking a lot more, partying a lot more, like that kind of stuff back in the day. It was just something that sort of like everybody from my area sort of did. And, you know, like if you don't think about it and like your lifestyle and like what you want out of life, you just sort of get like caught up in that loop. And it's very prevalent in the music scene as well. So like I just kind of went from like scene to scene where that was kind of like the standard behavior. I didn't really exercise back then, but eventually when like it sort of like reached a point where I was just like, you know, dude, you're not looking great. You're the singer of a band. You got to present well. Like, you know, how are you going to work hard if you don't have discipline? Like, you know, I just sort of started listening to people like David Goggins and like,
oh hell yeah,
tough love.
Oh hell yeah,
He's a
Yeah.
fucking animal.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. And it's just like when you see the when you see the power of like self-regulation and discipline and how it has like the ripple effect into all the other aspects of your life, I just thought to myself, you know, give it a shot. And it started off as just like, you know, I'll just download Strava and just see how far I can walk. And then like I just looked at it at the end and I was like, oh shit, that's like 2 kilometers. Like I didn't think that I could like even walk that far when I started. So like this is a message for any other thick boys like myself, or thick
Dude.
anything. Like,
we're part of the club, my guy.
Yeah, I ain't running unless somebody's chasing me.
yeah. Well, that's what I like to pretend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, you'll surprise yourself with what you can do. And once you surprise yourself in that way and you see like some benefits from it, it just like trickles down into everything. And I don't think that it's like a coincidence that the most successful I've ever been in music also coincides with the amount of discipline that I have
100%.
over myself now and the control over my mind. And I've just also noticed like, you know, I think that this is true for anybody. If you don't put yourself to the test physically, your brain will put you to the test mentally. Like, I think it's just like that simple, you know? And, and yeah, like I've just, you know, over time I've learned how to do hard things, like do things that I don't want to do and do them like I love them.
Yep.
You do like the Goggins phrase, like, who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Carry the boats. That's right.
That was fucking nuts. Hit the heart button on that one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We'll react to that one. I was gonna say that to you. Okay, I wouldn't want you to do it. I hope that's another recording, you idiot. I was gonna say that too. Like I was gonna put that together, like that kind of discipline in yourself, like physically. It's got to help, like, you know, move things forward for yourself, like mentally as well. Because like, what is the saying? Like, you got to do hard shit. Like, you really have to do hard stuff. Like, you have to continually, like, the more lazy we get, the harder it is for us to want to go and do things and push ourselves. And so if you're in a time in your life where you're growing and you're continually going to the gym, you're grinding, you're carrying the boats, like, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna just flow out like a ripple effect for sure.
Is it we don't learn when things are easy? Is that it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I made that one up.
I think I made it up.
Well, that's actually pretty good. That's true. Like, and like, you know, because life is like a journey of like learning stuff. And like, you know, with regards to the discipline aspect of it, right? It's like, you know, what is, like, to bring it back to music, it's like, what is being in a band? Like, what is your function? And your function is to continuously put out good music that's entertaining, right? And so like, what's like a really good way of doing that? It's just like, well, I thought to myself, like, what's like a hard thing that you can do? And it's like, produce lots of music, right? So like, what's like a good system for producing lots of music? And like the thing that I've found, like the method that I sort of go by is, I like to be writing the next album or almost having finished writing the next album as the previous album is coming out.
Whoa.
So like right now we're about to start dropping singles from like, so like, you know, we just put out a record like not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
In January. And we're about to start releasing new music from the next one. So like we just got the first mix back for like the first single. It's like, it sounds unbelievable. We're like going a lot harder. We're using like really good like producers and all that kind of stuff, like really good videographers for like the video clips. And, you know, we just make sure, like, so, you know, for example, with me, it's like, if I can get up and I can run 10K 5 times a week, you know, 3-4 times a week or whatever it is, and go to gym, I can also like, you know, get up and write new music, and I can like, mentally sort of just like pass out like all the different things that I need to do, all the things I need to manage and stuff. And just like, you know, get the job done. And like, the thing that I've noticed is that bands that don't have like discipline with what they're going to do, they always tend to fall off. It's just like, it's like I've seen bands like literally, they'll drop a record and then they'll think that that's them for like 3 years. That's all good. But it's just like, watch what happens to you in that 3 years. The bands that were, you're like, you know, like 2 slots down on the bill will overtake you in that 3 years, because they dropped 3 EPs in that time.
Could they be
or
touring?
Like even 6 EPs.
Yeah, could they be touring with it though? Like, I don't know if that justifies it though.
Yeah, you can be touring with it, but it's just like, if you can tour for 3 years off one album, imagine the tours that you could get if you drop 3, you know? And it's just like, and like, see, like the thing is like Earthcaller had the most growth, I would say, during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, like you know, we weren't allowed to like do certain things. You know, like Melbourne had really harsh lockdowns. I'm not sure what it was like in Canada, but Melbourne was an absolute joke.
We saw it. We saw it,
worse
man.
than us, and I couldn't believe it.
The way they rolled stuff out, and it's just like, but I just, you know, I just chose not really to like, I mean, like, I'm just, I'm not letting anything get in the way of what I've got to do. So like, I wrote 2 albums during the pandemic and put them out. And even though we couldn't tour them, we could still put them out. And yeah, like in that time frame, we like overtook a bunch of signed bands, because like they had to wait for permission from the label, budgets from the label, grants from like whatever. They had to wait for, like, they had to wait for the people who tell them what to do to tell them what to do, you know? And those people were like locked in their house doing nothing as well. So like, I just thought to myself, what an opportunity to make some moves. And yeah, the bands that were hungry during the pandemic came out of the pandemic ready to go, like Earthcaller, and then the big dogs who like had to like wait for their daddies to like tell them what they're gonna do. Like they suffered for it and stuff. So it's just like, you know, there's also the aspect of like, you know, the discipline aspect of like, you know, doing like rigorous exercise, like also provides you with the clarity to like not be swallowed by the moment of stuff. Like, you know, people like, cause, you know, moving out of the pandemic, it's like now it went from like in Melbourne, you are to stay in your house for literally like most of a year. Like people sort of were like consumed by that, and they couldn't imagine that it would go back to like somewhat normal. And now it has gone back to like somewhat normal. And like, you know, they're adjusting to that normal now. Whereas like, you know, the people that were like able to like maintain mental clarity and stuff like that. And for me, it's through like exercise and stuff. Like I was ready for this, you know, and, and yeah, like, I mean, it's just like, but at the same time, I don't want to sound like callous or like, you know, uncompassionate, because like, you know, life is hard. The music industry is hard to operate in. Being in a band is like literally like, you know, the hardest thing that you could ever do, because it's just like there's always a million choices that you can make, but there's really only one that's going to move you up, like, and get you the recognition that you're chasing. And it's just like, yeah. And like, you know, even like the person with the most clear mind and like the most wise philosophies is going to like make mistakes from time to time as well. So it's just like, I think it's just like, you know, it's just like in life, you know, you just got to find your purpose, and you just got to find the game that you want to play and try and play it the best that you can. And, you know, I feel like you should try to be the best that you can, if you're going to try and like, you know, try and be the best or whatever, you know.
Hell yeah. If you're gonna do something, do it right, for sure. Absolutely.
So for like a band like yourselves, and like for you that use the pandemic not to just sit around and wait for the world to tell you what to do, but to kind of just take the reins into yourself and say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm doing when shit gets going again. Like, do you think that bands now are just saying, you know, I use this time to figure out what I could do without having like a manager or things like that to book things for you. Like do you think like the age of like having somebody else book shit now that people kind of realize how to do it themselves is kind of on the wayside, do you think? Or if you're busy enough, like it makes sense?
What I think is that there are examples of bands that are like taking charge and knowing their worth, and they're attracting the type of representation like managers, booking agents, labels that are able to recognize their worth as well and treat them accordingly. And like, just like anecdotally, right? You guys are obviously familiar with the Aussie band Northlane.
I am. Yeah. Are you?
Sorry, maybe not obviously, but
I'm not
like,
in
so
that lane.
like,
I'm not in that lane.
okay. But yeah, so there's an Aussie band Northlane, right? They've done like quite well internationally and like extremely well over here, right? But they got out of a record deal and made like a really bold decision to they obviously did really well, but they made a really bold decision to sort of just etch out their own sort of independent place. And they've set this like new example, right? Like it's like really, really impressive. Like there's a bloke in the band named Josh Smith, who's like, he's sort of like on the front line of like the business end of the band. And like what he's put together. So like the first move that they made when they went independent was they signed a distro deal. We're actually signed to like the same distro deal as them through a company called Believe, who are like an excellent company. They treat their artists really well. But so the first thing that they were able to do was get like one of their new songs that they were releasing independently on a video game, which is like, that's like a huge earner.
What?
Then they followed it up with like an excellent release, and then they've done like an Australian tour with like like Sleep Token and Pliny and like just like big bands they brought over, and like they really set like a benchmark of sellout shows, huge production, amazing music, and well-handled business. And they've had like certain people in the industry line up to work with them, and they've set this like example of what can be achieved. And now, like, I'm not saying that like labels are a bad thing, because there's like plenty of people that work for labels that are absolute legends and like but I think what is changing at the moment is that artists are like starting to like know their worth and demand a slice of the cake, and like and rightfully so.
Right. Yeah. Do you think, I was going to ask this question before when we were talking about the idea of coming out with albums and like sitting on them for 3 years. Do you think that the times are now different in comparison to like maybe like 20 years ago, where it was okay for a band to do that, but now with like the age of Spotify, it's you need to adapt and have that way, but is it also like important to do it? Like, okay, that was 2 questions. I do this all the time. I ask my own question.
Ask one question.
Okay. Do you think it's
Don't answer.
Do you think it's just a sign of do you think it's like a new thing for bands to have to start doing that because of the way things are set up, like Spotify and like streaming, and like it's important to be more current all the time?
Stop. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. So like, yeah, I do think so. I think that you're right to ask about Spotify, because Spotify is now your Spotify page is basically, like, the way I see it is it's your business card. It's like however many monthly listeners you have will usually determine, because there's analytics, like they can see how many people are listening to you in Copenhagen, in like, Dresden, they know, like, people know it's not like ephemeral, like, it's not like an ephemeral thing that you have to guess anymore. It's like, this band has 2,000 people that listen to them every month in Dresden, or they can play a show in Dresden. So it's like, so it's just like, so Spotify ends up being like your business card, like your Spotify page, however many streams, however many monthlies, how that's distributed. And Spotify, like, once again, is, so rather than being governed by like an industry now, you're governed by algorithms, and you have to like, I don't even think Spotify even really understand their own algorithms and stuff like that. Like, I think it's like, gone past that. So like the only thing that you can do is like put out content consistently, provide the best possible, like the most professional looking stuff in terms of video clips, in terms of like rollouts and press and all that kind of stuff. You just got to like experiment. Like you need to release a lot of music and experiment with how you like release it to get that. And like, you know, in the amount of time that I've been doing it, like I've actually found that like I'm sort of mentally gearing myself towards Spotify for the growth of my band, and so far it's like it's done wonders. So so yeah, so I think really just like the aim of the game is just like you just have to like, there's, in the age of the internet and technology and stuff, like you can make yourself like really good, you can get yourself really good promotional pictures put up so that you can present well in a media format. You can get really cool looking video clips if you invest the money into them. And you can record a lot of songs even yourself. Like, you know, like you can like yeah, like there's like a DIY aspect now that is like, it's like almost like unbeatable, which is why like, you know, rappers a really good time, EDM people are having a good time because they spent the time at the computer putting the work in, and now they don't even need like producers or anything like that. They just need like artists to collaborate with, and they can just like whip it up on their computer, put it through a portal, and then just Bob's your uncle. You got like, you know, you got like this fan base that are ready to listen to it. Spotify bumps you the more you put stuff out. And yeah, like so like I think that's why it's affecting the music industry as a whole, because they've become aware of that there's like another way, and they still want to like, you know, remain relevant themselves. So it's like, yeah, it's like the age of the artists. And like I know a lot of bands like complain about how hard it is or whatever, but I just don't think that that's the way. I think that you just need to like once again, back to what you were saying about cancer bats, like I'm just happy to be here. I think that like those are I think that those are the wisest words that you could like have echoing in your head. Just be happy to be here. Just be happy to be doing the work. Do things that are hard like they're easy, you know?
Yeah.
Who's going to carry the boats?
Exactly. Who's carrying the boat?
Carry the boat.
That's the quote. I'll make sure we clip that in one of our YouTube clip things for the Instagram.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. So do you do most of the writing for the band?
So the writing, so for every album up until Crook, I wrote all the songs myself. And for There Are Things Worse Than Death, the album that came out in January, I wrote all the songs except for Dirge, which was written by our guitarist Carlo. And obviously, like Mystique put like her like touches on like I Will Return, Choke, and Avarice on that record. So you know, me, Mystique, and Carlo are now the primary songwriters. So on this next album that we've got coming out, I would say Carlo wrote about 40% of the music. He even wrote all the lyrics for one of the songs, which is like a new territory for me. Like I've never sang another person's lyrics before, but you know, like when it's just like, once again, back to being like humble and happy to be here. It's just like when somebody comes to the table with something that's extremely high quality, you can't like knock it back just because it wasn't your idea. So like what I've found is that now that I've got like other team members in the band that are like writing epic shit, like it's like, and I want to keep my I feel like, you know, if I want to maintain my status and like self-respect in the band, I better start bringing harder shit to the table. And like honestly, a bit of healthy competition has done well. Like I cannot wait for you guys to like hear this new stuff, because it's like it's really like, it's really out of this world. And like you know, I'm like you know, like I'm now writing songs with people in the band that I'm like proud, like I can't believe I'm like in a band with these guys, like and Mystique. Awesome. And like I can't believe like the quality of like musicians that I get to play with every day. And like, you know, and also having said that, so I should just also mention that our bass player Nick has also taken on like, you know, huge like huge stuff like vocally. He's like stepped up a lot. He's doing cleans and screams as well as me now. He's also managing like a lot of the business. So like when you don't have a label, you just work with the team that you have. And it's just like growing into this more cohesive business. And like, you know, it's like fully self-sufficient now. So like the next phase of it is like let's work on getting everybody some wages and salaries and stuff like that. And but yeah, like it's just like the collaborative aspect of Earthcaller. I feel I would be surprised if like there are many bands that have such like successful collaborations. Like, oh, and by the way, I should also mention our drummer Josh writes his own parts as well. So like, so it's really like a team effort. So like I would say like I'm the primary songwriter, followed closely behind by Carlo, and then like like Mystique and Josh, they write their own stuff, and Nick contributes like his own flavor with like vocals, and he does like a lot of like the logistical and like the merch side of stuff as well. So like everybody's just really pulling their own job. Yeah. We get to work, and like that is the main thing about it. It's just like how hard are you prepared to work? Because you know, it's like think about how hard like the 9 to 5 grind is. You guys said you got 3 jobs as well. It's just like, well, yeah, like you know, I've got 3 jobs within the band. I've also got like, you know, a job outside of it, and like, you know, like other goals as well. It's just like yeah, you know, you just got to look back at like how our grandparents grew up and how hard they were prepared to work. And you just got to work that hard at like life itself, you know, and like, you know, what's more fulfilling than like seeing the results of hard work? It's just like, that's why a lot of people are like depressed and like anxious and stuff like that. It's because they don't really know how to devote themselves wholly to something, you know? And like, I feel like with purpose and like with devotion, it's like you really find your way out of any kind of darkness that the world can present you.
Yeah, every aspect you have to kind of put in that work, that kind of mentality of putting something out there. If it is work, if it is music, if it is just getting up in the day and like walking, you know, starting off that with that app you're talking about, you know, running that 10K. I gotta ask. So when you're doing like all of these things, and you like you know you have a full day, you go to sleep at night, like. Comparatively, when you look at your life like now and you look back like 5 years ago, like do you smile? You're like, hell yeah, this is what's up.
Hell yeah, dude. Like I was a bum 5 years ago, you know, compared to what I am now. Like, and like, you know, life was, you know, it was a lot easier. Just like, you know, it's like, it wasn't difficult to do what I was doing 5 years ago, just kind of winging it and like letting it, like, you know, just letting things turn out as it is. But it's just like, you know, it's like 5 years on, like operating under the principles of like hard work and discipline. It's just like, yeah, life's a lot harder, and yes, it is hard to show up every day for something and all that kind of stuff. But like, you know, when you're not working and you have your like downtime with like your friends and family and stuff, and like they ask you like how everything's going, or like they've noticed like, oh, you've announced this, or oh, you've done that and stuff like that. There's like a humble pride that can't be, that like the feeling that comes from being able to say like, yeah, I just did this, and like they're like, wow, like, you know, that comes from that hard work and dedication. That's like, you can't really like match that feeling with anything else, you know. And yeah, like I just think like, yeah, I just think that like, you know, because we live in a time where mental illness is like talked a lot about, and like, you know, clearly like from the state of the world, like there's a lot of mental illness going on, you know.
Yeah, man.
And I think that like, you know, rather than having this like, not rather than, but as well as having this broad scope approach on how we can like limit and manage it and stuff like that, I feel like everybody would benefit, no matter like where you are at in your life. Because I've been in some, believe me, some like really dark places and stuff like that. But like, I feel like everybody can benefit from just waking up and saying to themselves, how can I be 1% better today than I was yesterday? What do I need to do? And literally that can be like going for a walk. Like that's because that's where I started, you know? And so like, and yeah, like, it's just like, yeah, it's just like, I think that if everybody in the world asked themselves, how can I be 1% better than I was yesterday? I think that it would make the world like a significantly better place for everybody to live in. And you would watch like all the like ills and failures of the world sort of like, drastically reduce over time.
Yep. I completely agree. Completely agree. I'll wake up, I'll make my bed. Like, okay, I made my bed. I got up. I'm going to make a cup of coffee.
Dude.
You know what I mean? And I think, and for us, like our whole thing, like this whole podcast thing, like we talk to people and we hear stories about like people like yourself, and we hear about positivity in a way without even saying positivity. Like this idea that you're waking up and you're that idea that you're trying to push yourself that 1%. You don't do that with anger. You don't come out of that with from a hard place. You come out of that, you come towards that with this mental positivity, this idea of feeling like I'm going to make a difference, and then making a difference is going to make me feel good, and then I'm going to feel good, and then I'm going to spread that out, and I'm going to just like enjoy. I'm going to enjoy my day. I'm going to make myself that much better in that one little increment. I think it's so important.
Hell yeah.
Grumpy little shithead in Ohio, the attendant could have followed that. It would have been nice.
The what?
We were trying to go through the border the other day, and he was being a shithead.
Oh.
Yeah? He's like, you can't park there. I'm like, all right, bud, I'm not parking.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
I was like, simmer down over there.
Wow. So he just give you some heat?
Yeah, he was giving me some shit.
I always have I really pride myself on being a super positive person like that. That's my whole jam. So when I interact with someone who's being negative, I start to laugh and smile, and I kind of like start looking around the room. I'm like, is everybody like seeing this guy? Like he's just I got an email I got a DM from a guy. I get DMs a lot on the podcast, Instagram, about random people just
Russian hookers.
Yeah, just like people like, stop putting your hat backwards. You guys aren't funny.
You get
just once in a while, I'll just get people just being like
I'm fucking hilarious.
People think that like you guys, I don't know, whatever, just like negativity, and I just go, man, like what's going on with your day that you have to take 2 seconds to like say something negative, or like on an Instagram post. I think I was some guy that looked like Sarah Snape was like working at an airport, and so I posted something. Is he working at terminal 9 3/4? And it got like over 200 likes. It got like 200 likes, but also in those likes, people were like, "That's not funny. Like that's not like that's not smart, or that wasn't like what I mean." I'm just like, "You really good? I thought so, right?
That was a good one,
right? I'm pretty good.
Very good.
So like that 2 seconds though, somebody like it's like, what's going on with your life, man? Like why are you acting that way? What's going on with your life that you have to like spread that like shitty peanut butter of negativity on your sandwich? So what is going on? Like, you know what I mean? So I feel bad. Initially I like put myself in their shoes and I feel bad. I'm like, okay, I like sorry about your life. Sorry that you like,
cross over the anger bridge.
Yeah,
the friendship shower.
I'm just like, I don't understand people like that, but it always makes me laugh, and I'm just like, come on, man, life's like, I hate to say this, I hate saying this, because like my perspective, like what you're talking about with like the pandemic, right? Like you were saying, you worked hard, you got up, and you tried to like, you were built for this. You were saying, I can't be negative about the pandemic, because I also did great. Like I had a job, I made more money, I went to work every day. Like I love what I do. Like I've like collaborated in my life so I can enjoy what we do. And like Ernie and I still did the podcast. The podcast did the best in the pandemic because people were just sitting around listening.
I was like Cardi B. I was making money moves.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't get it when people are negative. I don't understand it. But then in a sense, everyone goes through a season, like you were saying yourself. Like you went through hard times. Like shit. A couple years ago, or I'm saying 6 or 7 years ago, I had to go through counseling because I had to figure out my shit. I had to figure it out. But then I went through something hard. I put in the work. You know what I mean? So, but like
that's what it is. They're not putting in the work, and that's why they've like because there's going through a hard time and trying to still be positive, right? Which it seems to me like that's the kind of person that you are. I strive to be that kind of person. But then there's the kind of person that's like going through a hard time. And like they'll see like just something simple as like a funny joke like about like terminal 9 3/4, which is a fucking funny joke, and they're like they see like other people getting joy from something, and they're like, I can't let that stand. And like with the with the amount of eyes that like Mystique has brought onto Earthcaller, it's like obviously a whole new fan base and stuff like that. Like the volumes of like comments, like, you know, like 90, I would say literally like 98% positive, right? But then you just get that like segment of 2% of people, and they're always like these faceless fake profile picture people that have like just got this like real fucked up shit to say. And it's just like, I think that is like the I feel like that is the like quintessential person that has like fallen so far from grace. Like, and it's just like you said, like, you know, you just think about like, oh, well, that person's like you laugh about it. It's like water off a duck's back, like a positive person that's doing the work, because you're just like, you don't even have the courage to say these things as yourself. You know, you're an avatar. You're like, you know, just like you're like a NPC that's programmed negatively. And it's just like, you know, while it's like, it's fun to like meme on people or like whatever, you know, I'm sure it's like a good time, stuff like that. But it's like, but yeah, there's just ways of doing it whilst not bringing any extra negativity into the world. And like, you know, you definitely don't want to be one of the people that's like finds people's joy and you want to drag it into your like darkness. Like, you just don't want to be that. And it's like, it's not good for you, it's not good for the world. And it's just like, you know, you don't want to be villainous. You want to be part, you want to like bring people together, you know? And like like, you know, I would say that your podcast is like, you know, it's like aptly named, and like, you know, it's like, it's definitely like a vessel for that. And I think the coolest thing about it is that like, you know, it's, your podcast is like very reflective of the like the values and morals of the scene, of just like, you know, positivity.
Yes, sir.
Like, you know, positivity, bringing people together, having a laugh, like actually just like, you know, talking about the shit that like really matters, and like helping people out of a dark place, and like, you know, just trying to bring people like an interesting perspective and conversation. I hope I haven't been too fucking, you know, I hope I haven't been too like, you know, like just too serious about it and stuff like that. I don't know. That's how I woke up this morning. Normally I like to take
you brought a good vibe, dude. You brought a good vibe. It's all good.
Nice. Thanks, fellas. Yeah.
And I was gonna talk to you about that, like the hardcore scene. I don't know. I was gonna ask you this: what was your first hardcore show? But this idea that like I've been in some pretty messy pits. You know what I mean? Like I've been in like some really gross, awesome shows where I'm just smiling, I'm just laughing, and people are, I don't even know people, and you're hugging, you're high fiving, you're picking people up. Like there's like, if you were to stand, like someone explained this to me in a weird way. I don't know if you come from like a religious background. This idea of the, looking at a hardcore show from up in the stands or like up on the rafters and you're watching the show. It's like watching like a ceremony of like these people like speaking in tongues and writhing and moving and dancing, like a kind of like a Pentecostal church. And there's something beautiful about being a part of that and the feeling you get.
Yes.
And people don't understand, like, you know, right off the bat, people hear the music like, well, that's a lot of angry music. I'm like, no, I'm an advocate. Like Ernie and I are advocates. I'm like, no, man, it's a like the positive. Like, there's actually a scientific study where there's like endorphins that are reproduced because of listening to hardcore music. Like there's an actual thing.
Yeah,
I like the music.
Yes, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've checked that out. I've checked that out as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that feeling you get is so positive, even though it sounds like it's coming such from like an angry place. It's just a beautiful thing.
It looks like a fucking car crash.
Yeah, it is church. So like, yeah, like, you know, yeah, like, I mean, so like there is like, you know, there's just like a teen angst, right? Like, you know, hardcore sort of started with like a teen angst, like an expression of teen angst. And like, you know, it's like this safe and healthy expression of rage where you do it consensually with everybody around you, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like that's why it's like almost like a religious experience, because it's like something that you won't get anywhere else. Like, you know, I love all kinds of music personally. Like, you know, I love rap. I love, you know, I even like a lot of the shit I listen to is like the oldies, like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and stuff like that. Like, that's what I love. But I will always be I will always be a performer in the genres where you open up the fucking pit and people start doing karate like that, because there is nothing else like it. There is absolutely nothing else like it. Like I almost feel sorry for even like huge bands in other genres that don't get to the experience of seeing somebody like fly kick somebody in the back of the head, you know, and like, so my first, so you mentioned before, like what was my first hardcore show? So like I saw Parkway Drive play with Parkway Drive play with Carpathian. I'm not sure if like Carpathian were like sort of that big in like the States and Canada, but definitely know Parkway, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, yeah, I saw them play in a high school basketball gym. And like, yeah, it was just like, I think I was like maybe just like 14 or 15. And yeah, it was absolute insanity. And it was like a religious experience. Like I remember like finding myself, like I remember just being like, oh, holy shit, like this is where I'm meant to be. Like I've found myself here. And yeah, like I'm like so grateful to the genre, and like that's why I like talk a lot about like that's why like, you know, if I'm on like a podcast and like in my like, you know, on my like stories and stuff like that on Facebook, like with like the exercise and the running, it's just like I'm trying to like I'm always trying to like express the gratitude I have for this music and like not taking anything for granted, because like when you're not living in alignment with like positivity and like growth and stuff like that, you're actually like not showing anything around you respect, whether it be like music, your life, your loved ones, anything like that. And it's just like, I think like, you know, everything just comes back to respect. And I think you have to like, I think that like things that like often get lost is like the respect for like what we have in this genre as well.
Absolutely, man, that was really well said. Wow. I'm gonna have to clip that. That was, yeah, thank you for saying that. That was really an interesting take on that from your perspective as a person and what you do. Wow, man.
Thanks, man. I'm just shooting off the hip. I hope I'm not like crapping on and stuff.
No, man. You're very well spoken. It's I kind of knew going on. I'm like, I said to Ernie, like, we're gonna talk to somebody rad tonight, and it's always a cool feeling when like it's not one that we're gonna have to feel like it's like a lot of work. Sometimes we do podcasts and it's like, okay, we're gonna have to like weed into some waters and see how it goes. Like you're very passionate and you're very well spoken, and I know I really appreciate your music. Like if you're looking at your Spotify logistics and you see Canada, Ontario, like near Toronto, like I'll be like finishing work at 10 o'clock at night, driving fast as hell in my truck, listening to Choke and just
doing the speed limit of course, officer.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, oh yeah, Canada has been like very kind to us. Like we'd love to get over there. So like yeah, if you guys know some promoters and stuff, let them know. Let them know. Earth Doggies keen.
Don't you know a couple of promoters already?
Of what?
Of like shows. Like, hey, you get a band to come over. Don't we have someone involved?
I got a church event.
Okay, anyway. If we do, we will let you know.
100%.
Yeah.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm doing the mud run in August. I'll talk to somebody for you.
The mud run?
Yeah, I don't know if
you DJing a mud run?
Yeah, I am.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about you.
No, we're not talking about me.
I don't know.
I'm actually keen to know what the mud run is.
Okay,
what it is basically it's a female only event, and they have like ages from 7 to 70, and you line up and you run through a muddy obstacle course. Like, and I mean like
oh yeah,
muddy.
And
have you seen those?
We have something in Australia called Tough Mudder that's similar.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Oh, so it's like a women's only one.
Yeah, and it's in support for breast cancer, and I was reached out to. Yeah, and I was reached out to last month, and they were looking for a guest DJ for the event. So I'm there from 7 o'clock till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So you're gonna sit on a stage and just pump out beats for people to run to?
And they have all the music. So all they needed was my laptop on my mixer, and then I just pump out music from 7:30 till 2. And they have an MC, so I don't have to do any talking. I'm just playing music.
No, you loser.
Why?
You can do all. You should have said no. Pay me more and I'll do it.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll play music.
Anyway,
I don't want to do it.
So Josh, when you're like running those 10K, what kind of music are you listening to yourself? Like, You were saying before you're interested in types of genres.
He said zombies. Listen to zombies chasing him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I listen to podcasts, like 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 motivational podcasts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm,
But like, I mean, if I'm like I need to like ease into this run, it'll be something like Drake, or like some like like something in that kind of world. Or it'll, like, if I want to go hard, I'll listen to like UK drill, or like Comeback Kid. Comeback Kid I run a lot too.
Yeah.
Like Andrew's a good mate of mine, but like I would say like his band is probably like my favorite hardcore band ever, for sure. And and yeah, I they're just one of those bands where it's like, on a 10K run you can like listen to like 2 albums or whatever. So you just like go on Comeback Kid Spotify and just go shuffle, and like it just doesn't miss, and you're just sprinting the whole time.
And you bring your dog along?
Yeah. He's been good with that. He's been he's been good. It took me a while to like learn how to do it with him and stuff like that. But you just got to get him off the leash, and he's full turbo mode. He's like a Jack Russell cross whippet, so he's like real fast and stuff, but he loves it. You just got to watch out because he just starts hunting. So like, if there's ducks around and stuff like that, you gotta keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're running. We're not hunting.
Just like Jeremy would take it for a run. He hunts ducks.
Shut the fuck up.
I had to spear tackle him once because he almost got a duckling. I was just like, no. Like, I had to scoop him around.
That would have been
so close. So close.
Good God.
They do have apps though when you go for a run that you can listen to it, and it's like zombies chasing you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
It's called like Zombie Run or something. And like you can set it for like your area.
My alley. That sounds up my alley.
So you know when you go to that stupid thing where those people got ran over by cars catching Pokemon? But
like they walked up a bridge.
Oh, Pokemon Go. Yes, yeah, I did those that.
Doorknobs. Well, this thing is kind of like that. So like,
hey man, they were getting out of their house at least. Come on.
I'm talking about the ones run over by a car.
Well, yeah, you gotta be
because you saw a Pikachu. Let's see.
Okay.
Did you hear about those? Did you hear about those American coppers who were like so there was like a robbery of like, I think it was a furniture store or something like that, and they were like late. They were like, they didn't come to the scene and they weren't able to catch the guy because like one of the cops found like a Mewtwo on Pokemon Go. And just
I would have stopped what I was doing for a Mewtwo. I don't even play Pokemon.
Who cares about the furniture?
Yeah, hope the whole place gets stolen.
Like, did you catch him? He's like, oh, I caught him.
Yeah, put that in the police report.
Who cares about that sectional?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the things that people do that make them happy. You know what I mean? Good God. I don't know how much time you got left. Have you got a busy appointment or something afterwards, or I only have a couple more real barn burner questions.
Funnily enough, the thing that's on for my day is I'm putting together furniture, and then I got to be at the bar.
All right.
The key to furniture is only one person should do it at a time.
Yes, that's so true. It's like cooking. It's like it's not romantic. You know that meme? It's like, it's not romantic to cook together. It's like, get out of my way, please.
Get the hell out of the way.
Yes, my wife and I have a deal. She buys it, I put it together.
There you go. I actually enjoy putting it together.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy doing it together.
No.
Danielle, I love you. We cannot put stuff together, okay?
Yeah.
We both know this.
Yeah. It's an important life lesson.
Yes, it is.
I actually enjoy putting things together. I'm kind of a weirdo like that. Like if I get something, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I don't want you helping me if I'm doing
No, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it.
Yeah. Man, so you were saying you listen to motivational podcasts when you're doing your running and you're doing things like that. So have you done a lot of podcasts like this, talking to people, and like what's that kind of like been like for you? I want to know.
Yeah. Have I done like a lot of podcasts like
I know,
speaking about motivation type stuff?
Yeah, because you come across as a person to me who's, like you said yourself, like you love probably doing that in school, and you seem like not like a motivational speaker, like, but I mean, like, you come across as a person who you've done this before. I get the feeling like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just because of the stuff I put out, like the like exercise and just like
Right.
just like I'll occasionally sort of touch on like Stoic philosophy and stuff like that in my story posts and that kind of stuff. And like just because I put that stuff out, I find myself in like conversations about that, and that's usually what's happening on a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, the only other thing that I sort of do is like if I like kind of like if I catch the vibe that it's like going to be like a lit one or whatever, I'll just like knock back a few beers or a few whiskeys and we'll just like take the piss. But yeah, like that's the two modes I have for podcasts. Like yeah, like I've done like a podcast called Worship and Tribute Nerd recently, and that's like run by
Yeah, I
like
saw that one.
an ex-member of I Wrestled a Bear once, and like me and
Yeah.
him toured together, so I got on the whiskeys for that, and like that was
That's fun, man.
chaos. But yeah,
hang
aside
on.
from
It's called You Wrestled a Bear, or did you say you wrestled a bear?
Well, the band isn't the
oh
band
no
called?
he was in a band called I Wrestled a Bear once, and like
Okay.
in like closure in Moscow, I toured with that band. So like I knew the guy well, and I knew he would wanna knock back some drinks with me and stuff like that. So like yeah, I'm either doing the motivational talk or I'm doing the or it's just a drunk chat. If you guys wanna have a drunk chat one time, I'm up for
Next
it
time.
too.
Next time.
Fuck yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
funny.
gonna go off the fucking
mind
rails,
you,
though.
mind you, it wouldn't have been the first time. So we did a podcast with a guy from what was I named the name of the band. We had the guy, and he did shrooms before. They told us afterwards he was high on shrooms the whole podcast.
On the band.
No. What are you talking? I didn't say on the band. I said there was a guy who was in a band we talked to, and he was on shrooms the whole time. The homeless choir. The homeless choir.
He was on shrooms?
You didn't know that?
No.
He did a whole post. So after the podcast, he did like this post review. He's like, I was on this podcast. I'm gonna rate myself. And he goes, by the way, I didn't tell the guys I was on shrooms the entire time. So I had dropped shrooms and was high as hell during the entire podcast.
That's
and I was like, what?
hilarious.
I was like, what? And so we had a good time, but I didn't realize that he was just really
talk to.
He was cool. Like he was great. He was hilarious.
I couldn't tell apparently. So.
Yeah, he was great. Like he was loose. It was fun. He'd kind of go off on a rant. He'd be very he was very animated, but he was talking.
Had I known, I've been throwing stuff.
You know what I mean? Like, but that makes it more fun. Like when you can relax, when you gotta like. So the cool thing is like we'll do a podcast with someone and we'll become homies, and then we'll do it again, and we for sure have a couple beers. We laugh. We just have a great time. So, yeah, next time let's do beers.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I'll get on the whiskeys on your podcast, but I don't know if I'll do shrooms, man. I don't want to kiss the face of infinity in front of you.
No. I don't recommend that to anybody.
No.
I don't know what that guy was thinking.
No. Our PDA is.
It's fucking wild. It sounds awesome though. If you guys remember which episode it was, please text it to me. I'm game.
Yeah, I kind of want to know too because I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay,
No.
I'll send you the episode. And then the video. There's also if you go on YouTube. Watch the YouTube video, probably a better representation of what he was like. I'll send it your way.
Can you imagine we had video when I did marijuana the first time?
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Wouldn't have done well.
You're gonna be like episode 103. So we've done like 103 episodes. We celebrated this past week doing 100 episodes. But like,
congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
But number 9 or 10, Ernie smoked weed for the first time on air.
Yeah, it didn't go so well.
That's a banger.
Yeah,
no,
it was.
no.
He didn't enjoy it.
Our friend was like, "You're not high yet?" Nope. I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Keep puffing on." I think
Actually, it was
the whole freaking thing.
Actually, it was our buddy Dan from Australia.
Yeah.
He works in Melbourne.
Yeah. Dan, you poisoned me.
Yeah, our buddy Dan. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Josh, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Yeah, man. Love the music you're putting out. Love the vibe. Love everything about you do. It's just you seem like a really cool guy, and I hope one day we can meet up, have a couple of cold beers or whiskeys or whatever you want to do, and no shrooms, of course.
Maybe, who knows? but yeah, no. Thank you for having me. Big fan of the podcast.
Thanks,
big fan of you guys. You guys were an absolute pleasure to talk to. I hope I was entertaining for your fan base and stuff like that. And very keen to knock back a few beers with you in Canada one time.
Shit, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And you said you have an album coming out soon again?
You're gonna drop some singles soon?
Yes, yeah.
Don't
Before
say-
we go to Europe, something will be coming out. I'm not supposed to talk about it that much yet,
Oh,
but
okay,
but yeah.
Okay, so it's not coming. Disregard what Ernie said.
Yeah, we'll bleep it out. Yeah.
No. Go for it. No. I won't like putting it out. Everybody get ready for some new music because some new music is coming and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. You better listen to it, or we'll hunt you down.
And sorry, and people can access your music and your
that's a good question.
And everything that you got to do is from Spotify and where else? Was it?
Instagram?
Spotify, YouTube, like all the major doors, but sorry, all the major platforms. Sorry, doors.
Yep.
No, you're right.
But yeah,
Doors
all the
is
major
cool.
platforms. Yeah. But yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for that stuff coming out. This is our first record where Mystique was like a part of like the whole journey writing for it and stuff like that. So that's an exciting moment for us all. And we'll be getting around the world with this one. Starting with Europe in late September to late October. Got a couple of Aussie tours after that and one with Ocean Sleeper beforehand. And we've been talking about like America and Canada and with some people. And it's all looking up. So there's a good chance you'll be able to see Earthcaller in a venue near you soon.
Rad. Shit, that's awesome. And sorry, and also one last thing for you personally, for the beats that you were doing.
Yeah,
on the side
I wanted
as
to
well.
get into that.
How can people get a hold of you if they need to put a fat beat on something?
Oh yeah, dude, I would love that. Yeah, so at JC's at JCZAF on Instagram. I go by the name J Caesar. The email address is jcza613@gmail.com. And yeah, very affordable rates, and I'd be like happy to work on whatever with you.
Awesome.
Also doing like EDM and all that kind of stuff too. So like just hit me up. Let's work, fam.
Dude, I did want to talk to that, but we'll talk about that another time. But it's like your rapping is like, so you posted this thing like I think maybe 3 weeks ago. Like, which one is the best one? You were like, you put like a vote on like your rap.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Man, it was. I think I wanted to pick all three. I think they were like, I was like, this is awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Like the tone
Dude.
and everything was just like, it was really cool.
Thanks, bro. Thank you. Yeah. Just trying to put that that Aussie drill out there. Like the post me and Mystique did yesterday of that new track had just like some crazy like response. Like, huge guys like, Morgoth Beats, who like worked on like Juice World and MGK stuff. Like he dropped a comment. Like I've gotten
Holy
like a bunch of
shit.
Dude, it's insane, man. It's insane. Like it's like,
is MGK
wow.
rapping anymore?
No, he's not.
Sorry,
he's punk.
Is he
now.
rapping anymore?
MGK is not rapping anymore.
But he has alluded to him coming back into the scene. But like, how like I mean, like he must be having a good time,
I wonder if his girlfriend allows him to do that.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yikes. Anyway, dude. Tell him.
Just like curving him a little bit when he's trying to put his arm
Yeah.
around her, and it's like she's done with him.
Sticking tongues out and touching each other. I'm like,
Hey,
come on,
man,
babe,
they're having a
that's
good.
not punk.
They're having a good time. That's
Hey, live your life.
the honeymoon stage. You
Live
know
your
what I'm
life.
saying?
Just
Yeah.
toe to toe.
You know the classic honeymoon stage where you drink each
Yeah,
other's
buddy.
blood. Just like
We've all done it.
Yeah,
We've all done it.
Yeah. I remember
What the
like,
hell?
yeah, dude.
Bust open the veins.
Anyway, say hello to Mystique for us. We had talked to her a little while ago, and just tell her we said what's up. That'd be cool too.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, we're talking to you, but you're gonna say hi to somebody else for us.
Listen,
What the fuck are
he
you doing?
hangs out with her. I just wanted him to say hello, to like say what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
of course,
cool,
of
but
course.
say hi to her.
Well, okay, shut the hell up.
Yeah,
buddy.
we'll do.
Anyway,
He's on shrooms. Just ignore him.
yeah. Anyway.
Wait, next time we should just do one all together.
Okay. All right. I'll be the first time I've done one. So
On shrooms.
okay, let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. All right.
Nice, fuck yeah.
All right, man. You take it easy. Enjoy your day. All right. We'll talk soon.
You too, fellas. Have a good one. Thanks
All right.
for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
worries.
buddy.
See ya.
Peace.